Texas has one job. You have one job. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the PG Show, where I talk about all things college football. Today, we got to break down the list of Texas visitors before they have to play TCU on game day at home. And we have to talk about the impacts of this game because this could really set up the future of Texas to become truly back. But before we do that, please go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments below. Do you guys agree with the list of players that I think are going to be able to commit from the University of Texas if they could pull out a strong end to the season? Okay, so Texas has a huge recruiting weekend in front of them, not only with 2023 targets, but they also have a bunch of 2024 targets and 2023 and 2024 commits that are currently planning on attending the University of Texas. So let's run through the list of 2023 targets. And I kind of want to give you guys an outlook of how I think their class is going to finish, and we'll kind of move on from there. So, they have five-star linebacker Anthony Hill, who currently decommitted from Texas A&M, and a lot of believe that is going to commit to Texas. Now, you've heard me say it. Yes, I do lean Texas on this one, but wouldn't shock me if maybe a Miami or LSU tried to get in on his recruitment as he has decommitted from A&M. You have the five-star tight end Deuce Robinson. I don't think this one is likely for Texas to land at all, but hey, you're getting them on campus, so there's always a shot. If they were able to pull this one away from Georgia or USC, and it looks like USC has the clear-cut lead, man, something's going on. Sark's got something brewing out there. Then you got the four-star defensive back Bravion Rogers, who is currently still committed to Texas A&M, but we have seen this Texas A&M class completely fall apart. Completely fall apart. Four-star defensive back Javien Toviano. I currently don't have him going there either. I have him going to LSU. Four-star wide receiver Deandre Moore, who is currently committed to Louisville. He was an OU commit as well. He decommitted after Lincoln Riley decided to go out to USC. You're hearing that this is kind of a silent commit, that he's planning on being at the University of Texas. So we'll have to watch this one and really see what's going to happen with Deandre Moore. Four-star wide receiver Jaden Greathouse, currently committed to Notre Dame. He is a Westlake student, so this is going to be huge for Austin and for the University of Texas to be able to continue to bring in those Austin Westlake guys and to not let them slip out of their hands and go to other schools. Point being, the number one quarterback in the class last year, Cade Klubnik, is out at Clemson, and he's not at Texas. You have the four-star defensive lineman, Markis Deal. This was a lineman that OU was really in. We kind of decided to pull back on this one. Looks like it's down between Georgia, TCU, and Texas. I believe Texas has a good shot at this one. Listen, they have some defensive line holes that they need to fill in this class. You have the four-star athlete, Jelani McDonald, the four-star defensive lineman, Johnny Bowens, who was committed to Texas A&M, decommitted because, hey, he said that the depth was just too big there, that he didn't believe that there was an opportunity for him to really come in and play, get some good minutes, which, hey, I agree, right? You know, when you have all that five-star talent on the defensive line, you really have to start looking at, hey, I might be good, but there might not be a lot of opportunity there just because there's so much talent there. Four-star wide receiver Jacoby Lane, who is currently committed to USC. So what do I think about this 2023 class, and where do I think it's going to land? Well, currently as it sits, Texas has the number 6 recruiting class in the nation, currently sitting at a 286 composite score. You have the number 1 overall player in this class, a 5-star plus commit in Arch Manning. You have a 5-star wide receiver and a 5-star safety in Jonte Cook II and Derek Williams. I believe that Texas will be able to add another 5-star into this class in Anthony Hill. Not only that, you add DeAndre Moore Jr., Markis Deal, Jaden Greathouse, Jelani McDonald, and Johnny Bowens. Additionally, I still think that Texas retains Cedric Baxter Jr. I don't think that Florida State is going to be able to flip him from Texas. And ultimately, I think Texas probably lands somewhere in between the 307 to maybe 312 range in the composite score. I say the 312 range because right now, if you add those players, Texas would have a composite score of 307.44. But listen, players have an opportunity to rise up in the composite score rankings up until National Signing Day. So I would expect them to probably end around that 307, 312 range, maybe even a little higher. That would put Texas at 27 commits. And there's definitely the opportunity for them to be able to come in on some more recruiting opportunities. So we will have to keep an eye on that. 27 to 30 commits does sound right. I expect a lot of these new coaches to take more players, at least their first 5 years, just be able to bring their own guys in, be able to get guys in there to run their system. That's generally what you see. Right now, the recruiting rankings are sitting with Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, LSU, Ohio State, and Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, Miami, Clemson. And everybody expects Notre Dame to fall off, especially if they lose Jaden Greathouse to Texas and Peyton Bowen to Oklahoma. Now, I know there's probably a lot of questions for Texas fans around Peyton Bowen and why I didn't mention him. He's not going to end up visiting Texas, even though his younger brother, Eli Bowen, will be there. Now, I still believe wherever Peyton Bowen lands, that's where Eli Bowen's going to land. But I think it's still something to say that Eli Bowen is visiting Texas. Now, Peyton Bowen, he's supposedly going to be at some event here in Dallas, a party or something. I still lean Oklahoma heavily with him. I think he wants to play with Jackson Arnold. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that situation. I don't think Texas really is able to land him, but Notre Dame is going to fall out of potentially the top 10 by losing those two guys. Opens up the spot for Texas to be able to shoot up those rankings. Really, if you're Texas, you're going to have to be able to compete with Georgia and LSU here, right? Georgia and LSU, they're hot. Georgia's been hot on the recruiting trail. LSU's been exceptionally hot as of recently. We'll have to see. Now, as far as 2024 and who they have coming, not as many targets as I would expect for them to have, but we'll see. They'll probably pick it up towards the end of the season. The reason why I say that is, as we start to come into the end of the season, you're really going to start seeing 24 targets start to pick up on a lot of recruiting visits for a lot of schools. So they have the 5-star edge Colin Simmons, 5-star cornerback Kobe Black, 5-star athlete Derek McFall, 4-star defensive back Corian Gibson, 4-star athlete Terry Busey, 4-star linebacker Dylan Williams, 4-star offensive tackle Michael Uni, 4-star wide receiver Freddie Dubose, 4-star edge Dakias Brinkley, 4-star defensive lineman Dalen Evans, 4-star cornerback Eli Bowen, 4-star offensive lineman Daniel Cruz, and 4-star wide receiver Parking Livingstone. So one thing I notice here is they're not bringing in anybody that currently Oklahoma is trying to commit. So I'll be curious to see what recruiting battles OU and Texas are going to be in this year in 2024. Who is that going to be? Are they targeting anybody that's the same? I'm sure they will at some point because, listen, when you guys are both neighboring states, you're bound to have those recruiting rivalry battles. So, Texas, you have a big weekend. You beat TCU, who is currently undefeated and the number 4 team in the country. You are setting yourself up for great success and a great end to the season, and your team's going to build a lot of momentum. The question is, how is Quinn Ewers and what version of Quinn Ewers are we going to see in this game? Right now, this season, he is 100 for 173, 1,336 yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. We have seen him not play well on the road. Luckily, this game is at home, but it is against a top 4 team in the country. And TCU is a top 4 team in the country for a reason. They are great at second half comebacks. Texas is not good in the second half at all. Texas has given up some games in the second half. There's games that they probably should have lost in the second half due to other circumstances. But ultimately, it's a win in the win column. So if you're Texas, you have to be able to dominate the second half. You have to get a strong first half start, and you have to be able to protect that lead coming out of halftime. You have to be able to adjust. You're going up against a veteran quarterback in Max Duggan. We're hearing that Quentin Johnston is going to be a game-time decision. If he plays, listen, that secondary, you have to play well. You have to play well. So in this TCU run game, listen, they're not anything to overlook either. And Max Duggan, he's a hell of a quarterback, thrown for a little over 2,400 yards this year, 24 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. The one thing that I like about this Texas team and the one thing that I think they have going for them in this game is you are able to protect Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is able to get the ball out early. He only has 2 sacks on the season. This offensive line for the University of Texas is a lot better than I thought they would be. So I give credit to Nino's Corner. If you guys have not, please go check out his show. Great show over there. But we talked about some of the keys and things that are changing this Texas program when you look at it. And one of those things is the offensive line and how well they are recruiting it. And you can see it on the field. 2 sacks this year given up on Quinn Ewers. Now, unfortunately, one of those was the one that took him out of the game in Alabama. But I digress and say, listen, this Texas offensive line is a lot better than I thought they'd be. I expected Oklahoma this year to be able to come in and eat on the offensive line with those freshman offensive linemen. But hey, you know what? Texas has proven me wrong. I want to see what they're going to be able to do against the TCU Horned Frogs. The TCU Horned Frogs, not saying that they're doing this intentionally, but they have taken out all of the Big 12 quarterbacks except for JT Daniels at West Virginia. When I say take them out, that means they've hurt them. Not wanting that to be on Quinn Ewers at all, but it's something that the Texas offensive line has to be aware of. You have to be aware of it, and you have to be able to protect Quinn Ewers at all costs. Here's the deal. Texas has set themselves up perfectly to be in the Big 12 championship game with a win today. Potentially a rematch with TCU again. And for Texas to be able to go to the Big 12 championship game and not be playing Oklahoma, who has historically over the past 20 years ran this conference and ran that game specifically, this is big. Texas isn't going to be running into OU. You're going to be running into TCU, an in-state rival in that game. This game is crucial for Texas to be able to win, to be able to build that momentum, because next week you go on the road to a team that has given you hell over the past 10 years, and that is going to be Kansas. And I promise you, Lawrence, Kansas will be the biggest test for Quinn Ewers all season. It will be the biggest road test for Quinn Ewers. It's going to be packed. It's going to be loud. And I expect Jalen Daniels to be playing in that game. Kansas is a good team this year. They're kind of like Texas. They don't allow very many people to get back to their quarterback. So I'm extremely excited to watch the Texas at Kansas game. And who would have thought that after seeing a 2 or 3 win Kansas team last year play the 5-win Texas team last year, that we'd come into a potential 7-win Texas team and a potential 7-win Kansas team. Like, mind-blowing. Going to be a great game, but we'll talk about that one more next week. And then you end the season at home against Baylor. Listen, I expect that if TCU comes out victorious and Texas does not win this game, y'all are maybe in a little bit of trouble. You start to lose that momentum that you could have had, and you're running up against 2 really tough games at the end of the season. So we'll see where this game is going to go. If Johnston is fully, well, I'm not going to say fully healthy because he's obviously not, but if he's healthy enough to play in this game and make an impact, TCU wins this game handily. If he's not, it's a coin flip. It's going to all come down to, is Quinn Ewers able to get the passing game going? And is Bijan Robinson going to be as dominant as he has been? And is TCU going to be able to stop that run game? If TCU can stop Bijan Robinson, you've got a really good shot in this game without Johnston. So please go ahead, jump down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about the TCU-Texas game. What do you guys think about the 2023 class and where Texas is going to land?